So, of course, Oladipo missed most of the season this previous year, but the one before that, the problem with Indiana was they just didn't have enough scoring next to Victor, and it seems like they tried to solve that this offseason with Brogdon and TJ. The acquisition of TJ Warren's still pretty wild because the Suns basically just gave him to the Pacers. Brogdon, the only way to get him off of the Bucks was to give him about a $20 million offer. And given his versatility offensively, I'm not killing Indiana for that one. Yeah, it's an overpay, but in the grand scheme of NBA overpays, it's nowhere near the top. And I guess one argument you could make is losing Bogdanovich and gaining Malcolm Brogdon is not much of a difference. I think I actually disagree because I think Brogdon is a better defender and he's certainly a better ball handler, so it brings more dynamic stuff to this Pacers team. I mean, yeah, Bojan can certainly make shots, and he went off the dribble sometimes for these guys, but I think Brogdon's just going to give them an extra thing there. And in a lot of ways, I think TJ can give them what Bojan gave them. So anyway, how much better are these two going to be? Because I mainly want to talk about these two because I'm saving the whole team previews for later this offseason. So I think with Brogdon, the first thing you got to ask is if he's done improving. I mean, he's going to be 27 because, of course, he was a really old rookie at 24 years old. I think the thing with Brogdon that can go up is his three-point attempts. He only shot 4 a game this season, which actually kind of surprised me with how three-point happy the Bucks were. Now, in the playoffs, it was about 5.5 a game, which I think is more in line of what I would like to see with the Pacers. We're going to have to see there. I mean, Nate McMillan has never been a guy who's just loved three-pointers. In fact, Indiana has been towards the bottom of the league in three-point attempts the last couple years. Now, to be fair, you could argue they haven't really had the personnel for it, and they have been towards the top of the league in three-point percentage. So maybe now with just more shooters, they'll be a little more reckless there. We'll have to see. But Brogdon gives them probably their second most reliable ball handler. I mean, Darren Collison was here, but Collison, he can't beat defenders the way that Brogdon can. I mean, Brogdon's a big dude, and yeah, he may not be some speed demon, and you could argue that 2 years ago it looked like he was never going to beat guys in ISOs or pick and rolls, but he did a bit of it last season. So I'm hoping that will open up more opportunities for Oladipo, more opportunities for Turner and Sabonis, because it seems like that is the front court they're going with, which I'm totally fine with because you have to find out if those two can really play together. It can get TJ some open opportunities as well. And I think the Brogdon-Oladipo doing stuff in the same play can be really interesting as well. We're going to have to see if Nate McMillan does that kind of stuff. I mean, 2 years ago they were towards the bottom of the league in passes per game. Last year they were a bit higher. But part of me believes a lot of that was because they just had to do it out of necessity because Oladipo was out for so much of the year. So with him back, we might just see more of the Oladipo ISOs and pick and rolls, and it might be the same thing for Brogdon and Warren, which I think would be a little disappointing because I do think those three guys, but especially Brogdon and Oladipo, can really be involved in the same play as ball handlers, whether it's one handing off to the other or whatever. And that could be tough for teams to deal with because those are two guys you got to respect. I think Brogdon, Warren, and Oladipo can all make Miles Turner's day easier. Turner still needs to get more aggressive offensively. He also just needs to understand where to be a lot of the time in terms of pick and pops, because it's usually either you want to pop to about maybe 15 feet or to the three-point line. But what Turner does is he'll pop out to 20 feet, so it's still a two-pointer, but it's the least efficient two-pointer, and it's just like, what are you doing, Miles? So part of that's going to have to be on him, but hopefully these guys can just create that space for him as well. Now if we move on to TJ Warren, he's around an actual NBA team now, so that's cool. He's not going to be having to constantly play in the half court because his team is not going to give up a bucket every single possession with Miles Turner at center. His team is not going to turn the ball over a million times. His team is not going to get destroyed on the boards. His team is not going to foul way too much. So then and there he's going to have more opportunities, right? Transition, and he could get more mismatches because the defense just has to scramble to somebody. And I mean, given that TJ is 6'8" and kind of a strong dude, he could take advantage of those things. And while I don't love his ball handling as much as Brogdon and Oladipo's, TJ is definitely one of the better dribblers among the wing positions. So that's just 3 guys, really 2. I mean, Brogdon for the things I like and for the praise that I can give him for some of his improvement with like beating defenders off the dribble. I don't think he's going to be the ISO dude that Oladipo or TJ are. But that is still 2 guys who can create a bucket for you when there's like 9 seconds left on the shot clock and the initial action didn't really work. Whereas before it had to be Oladipo, and this previous season it was Bojan. So the Pacers offense just isn't going to fizzle out at times. I mean, they finished 18th in offense this year, and they finished 11th with Oladipo becoming, an all-star, and he might have been all-NBA that season. I don't really remember. Now, there is one thing. There's 2 things, actually, that I am a little fearful of with TJ, Brogdon, and Oladipo, because we're just sticking with those 3, I guess, is the health. So TJ has not put in a full NBA season yet. Oladipo, of course, just missed over half of a year. And Brogdon has had 2 straight years now where he's missed a decent amount of time as well. And, I mean, he missed part of the playoffs, so that is definitely frightening. We're just going to have to hope that they can stay up, but I guess we shouldn't be shocked if between the 3 of these guys there's about maybe 20 to 30 games missed total this year. Now, I think what was interesting was the signing of Jeremy Lamb, who I don't think was that great for the Hornets, but he was at least a guy. I guess he can be your insurance policy on one of these dudes getting hurt, with the idea of the Pacers are just a better team than the Hornets, so he could get easier shots. McDermott can at least step in and be a floor spacer, but there is still going to be a drop-off if one of these dudes gets hurt. One more thing I am concerned of is how many free throws this team is going to attempt. So, in 2018, when Oladipo was really good, they were 27th in free throws per game. Last year, it was not that much different. And, I mean, between TJ and Brogdon, you're not expecting anything more than maybe about 5 free throws a game. Now, that could go up. I would actually like to think that TJ Warren can live at the free throw line a bit because of how crafty he is within the 3-point line, but up to this point he hasn't really done that. Brogdon, similar thing. Now Oladipo, he shot 5 free throws a game in 2 years ago, and I would like to think that can keep on being a thing, but if the guy who's shooting the most free throws on your team is at about 5 to 6 a game, that's just maybe not good enough to where you can guarantee that your offense is always going to be good enough. Like, I could still picture times in which the Pacers' offense is not looking beautiful because they just simply can't make a shot. Whether it's a TJ Warren floater or a Brogdon pull-up jumper or Oladipo anything. So I guess that's something to be fearful of, but I do think the Pacers are in line for being a top 10 offense this season, assuming that their health is there and Oladipo is once again going to be the guy who is shooting threes with little hesitation, and Brogdon's going to keep being this 50, 40, 90, 15 points a game guy who can go off the dribble and stuff, and TJ keeps on being TJ, and Miles Turner hopefully makes a little bit of improvement on offense. I've been saying that for a few years now. So yeah, Indiana should be good.